image you have of love is a lie. They taught you that women love purely, selflessly, that they care, give, and suffer, that they're always ready to rescue your emotional chaos. That's not love, that's control. Nietzsche understood this before anyone else. He saw what everyone refuses to see. Delicacy is not weakness, it's strategy. Fragility is just a disguise. True power moves in silence. You think you're being loved, but in reality, you're being studied. Every word you say is a map. Every insecurity, a crack. She doesn't want you strong. She wants you predictable, submissive. Someone who mistakes that for love. The woman you idealize doesn't exist. She's a product of your own need. You don't see her. You see what you want her to be. A projection, crafted to feed your illusion of control. But while you're lost in fantasy, she's already decided the game. And not out of malice, out of survival. She knows how to adapt. She knows how to lead without looking like she's in charge. Nietzsche called that invisible dominance. She doesn't yell. She doesn't confront. She simply directs. And you? You walk around offering your peace in exchange for attention, begging for respect while wrapping your power in a bow. You think it's love, but it's just attachment to the feeling of being needed. Nietzsche was clear. Between man and woman, there is no equality in love. There is silent war, a subtle game where the one who needs less wins, and you lost long before you even realized you were playing. This isn't love. It's power wrapped in affection. It's a battle of wills disguised as tenderness to make it hurt less. Who dominates the other's desire? Who surrenders first? That's the real war, and the one who doesn't see it has already lost. Does it make you uncomfortable? Good, because that's what Nietzsche demands, to stop sugarcoating reality, to stop calling pure what's born from desire, to stop moralizing what was always strategy. Love isn't heavenly, it's earthly, it's ego wrapped in promises, it's need disguised as devotion. And that doesn't make it dirty, it makes it human. And the human always is contradiction. Nietzsche didn't despise women. He despised the ridiculous fantasy man builds around them. The fragile muse, the saving angel, the morally superior creature sent to cleanse his masculine guilt. That's not respect. It's escape. It's fear of the real female face. Because that face doesn't wait. It watches, it calculates, it decides. And here comes the hardest blow. That so-called feminine morality everyone praises isn't virtue. It's defense. It's adaptation to centuries of having no voice. She couldn't control the world, so she learned to control the one who does. Influence, not imposition. Emotional pressure, not brute force. That's psychological power, and it's brutal. Nietzsche understood this. A woman doesn't conquer by shouting, but through need. She makes you feel like you'd fall apart without her, not through violence, but through presence. And you? Are you the blind lover who gives himself away completely? Or the one who starts to see the map behind the smile? Because if you don't understand the game, you're the easiest piece to move. Love, Nietzsche said, is not symmetry. It's tension. And she plays by different rules. Not because she's inferior, but because the system forced her to create invisible weapons. Where the man demands, she influences. Where he attacks, she waits. And in that strategic silence, she builds her power, without you even noticing, because she already understands how it works. You still believe love conquers all. She knows love is a tool. Sometimes it's a weapon, sometimes it's a shield, but always it's functional. You use it to redeem yourself. She uses it to advance. Is there devotion? Yes, but with conditions. Is there tenderness? Of course, but it's directed. It's not coldness, it's clarity. It's emotional strategy. Does that make you uncomfortable? It should, because that's the point. Nietzsche didn't write to flatter your ego. He wrote to break it, to rip off the blindfolds one by one. Because only with your eyes open can you rebuild from something real, not from illusion. And what's real is this. The relationships between sexes are loaded with projections. Man sees in woman what he wants to achieve. Woman sees in man what she needs to influence. No one arrives clean. No one loves without expecting something in return. They seek each other from lack. They approach wearing masks. They promise loyalty, but what they really want is emotional territory, power, subtle hierarchy. Nietzsche isn't telling you to hate. He's telling you to wake up, to stop romanticizing what has always been a disguised negotiation, to understand that the morality attributed to gender is a construct, an elegant form of mutual manipulation, that sweetness can be domination, that tenderness can be a more effective form of control. And if you're not willing to see that, you'll live deceived, thinking you're in a love story, when in truth, you're the one with the least power in the script, thinking you choose when you've already been chosen, that you decide when the decision was made for you. The future of love doesn't lie in making it purer. It lies in stripping it bare, in stopping the search for angels and starting to see people with instincts, with intentions. And there, in that brutal realism, is where the only true freedom is born, the kind that doesn't need illusions to stay standing. Nietzsche knew this, and he throws it at you without mercy. The real enemy of love isn't hatred. It's the lie. The lie, that's the true poison of modern love. Not hate, not rejection. The lie disguised as sweetness. The falsehood you repeat without realizing. Movies, social media, soulmate speeches, all build an image Nietzsche would destroy with a single sentence. Because as long as you believe she is morally superior by nature, you'll keep giving away your power without even noticing. And as long as she keeps believing you're her emotional savior, she'll keep playing a role that was never hers to begin with. Want a love for real? Then start by letting go of need. Because the one who needs gives themselves away without filter. And the one who gives without filter loses influence, loses balance, loses the other's respect, and their own. Nietzsche didn't want you to fall victim to this. He wanted you to be free, to love from truth, not from hunger, from choice, not from lack. Because the day you understand this, you'll stop asking why they left, why they broke you, why they ignored you, and you'll start asking why you needed so badly to believe in that lie. What part of you chose to idealize instead of accept reality? What fear led you to see an angel where there was simply a human being? That is the real revolution. Not changing the other, but changing the way you look at them. And if you begin to see women for what they really are, autonomous, instinctive, strategic, then you won't need to place them on a pedestal, nor will you need to hate them. You'll simply understand them. And that, for Nietzsche, was the beginning of real respect. Not blind love, not absurd devotion, lucid respect. This isn't misogyny, it's demystification. And through that painful process, maybe we can build something that doesn't depend on masks or prepackaged roles. Something born from the brutal recognition of what we are, and what, despite it all, we could still become. And you, are you ready to see without filters? Or would you rather keep loving an illusion? Because now a more unsettling door opens. What if this whole emotional structure between men and women wasn't just a product of history, but a deep manifestation of the will to power Nietzsche warned us about? It's not just about how we relate, It's the primitive drive to influence without being influenced, to dominate without showing it, to maintain control without raising your voice. And the most disturbing part, this emotional war isn't fought on the surface. It's fought in the unconscious, in that dark place where you think you're choosing, but you're only reacting to impulses you've never questioned, to patterns you've inherited, to wounds you've learned to ignore. Let's speak clearly. Are you sure you choose who you love? Or do you simply gravitate toward the one who knows how to trigger your deepest insecurities? Because here's something no one told you. Desire is rarely free. It's shaped by wounds, by lack, by everything you still haven't resolved within yourself. You think you fell in love with her. But what truly hooked you was the way she validated that part of you you've never been able to accept. Did she make you feel special? Needed? Strong? Exactly. That's what you were looking for. And she knew it. Not because she read a book on manipulation, but because she learned through her own experience that feminine power isn't about imposing. It's about knowing exactly where you are weak. While you try to impress her with words, she's already understood everything with a single glance. While you're declaring yourself, she's measuring, calculating, testing. And when she senses you've fallen, she pulls back, just enough to leave you hungry. That's where the cycle begins. You chase, you try to prove your worth, you try to win back that gaze. But you don't even realize you're no longer chasing love. You're chasing validation. You're trying to return to that place of feeling special, the one she gave you, and then took away. Nietzsche doesn't call you foolish. He calls you blind. Blind to what you project, to what you idealize, to what you refuse to see. Because it hurts to admit that the love you feel says more about your emptiness than it does about the other person. And now comes the question no one wants to ask. Are you in a relationship with her, or with the idea you've built of her? That difference, my friend, changes everything. Because as long as you don't see the real woman, with her games, her thirst for control, her survival strategies, you'll remain a puppet in your own emotional theater. You'll believe you're leading, when in truth, you're dancing to the rhythm she set. Is it uncomfortable? Yes. Is it bitter? Also, but it's freeing. Because when you understand the game, you can stop playing it. You can begin to truly choose, not from lack, not from the need to be seen, but from clarity, from presence, from awareness. And only the one who sees without filters has any chance of loving freely. If something close to real love exists, it doesn't start with desire or with eternal promises. It starts with truth. Raw, uncomfortable, unadorned truth. The truth of who you are without masks. The truth of who she is when no one's watching. And above all, the courage not to cover it up just to make it easier to accept. But accepting that truth requires loss. It means giving up your role as the protagonist in your own romantic fantasy. It means stepping down from the pedestal you were led to believe you deserved. Just for suffering. Just for trying. Because here comes a bomb Nietzsche never stated outright. But that lingers between every one of his lines. Emotional revenge. That silent need many call love, but in truth is revenge against life. Against the loneliness you couldn't stand, against the wound you never healed, against the shattered image of yourself you tried to cover up with another body. How many times have you called love what was really a desperate need for validation? How many times did you desire not because of who she was, but because of what she represented for your ego? Nietzsche saw it. He saw it in every relationship built on emotional dependence. Many men don't seek love. They seek to tame what they cannot control. She becomes the battlefield where you measure your worth. You don't want her to choose you. You want her to need you. You can't stand the idea that she might be whole without you. That's why you idealize her, pressure her, bind her with sweet promises that hide a brutal demand. Don't leave. Don't grow past me. Don't be free without me. That's not love. That's fear dressed in flowers. That's control disguised as romance. And here's the most brutal part. Even if you manage to keep her, you know it's not real. You know she's not free. And what isn't free was never truly yours. Nietzsche doesn't offer you comfort. He throws you against the wall of your own self-image. He says, look at how you use others to avoid seeing yourself. Look at how you cling to a woman not because you love her, but because you fear who you'd be without her reflection. That's not cruelty, that's clarity. It's not malice, it's will to power. And that will has no gender, no fixed face. It lives in everyone. It shows up in soft gestures, in long silences, in calculated words. Sometimes with sweetness, sometimes with emotional violence, sometimes without even realizing it. And that's what makes love so human and so dangerous. Because love is not just about feeling. It's also about influence, shaping, surrender, or domination. So next time you say, I was used, pause. Were you really manipulated? Or did you hand over control just to avoid facing your emptiness? Did she play a strategy? Or were you so desperate to be needed that you turned the drama into a self-fulfilling prophecy? Nietzsche isn't here to blame her. He's here to wake you up. Don't trade your soul for affection. Don't confuse tenderness with submission. Don't place the task of rebuilding yourself in someone else's hands. Because the other doesn't come to complete you. They don't come to rescue you. They come to show you what you didn't want to see. Your lack of identity, your hunger for approval, your hidden dependence on borrowed self-love. Love is not redemption. It's reflection. And if the reflection hurts, it's not the mirror's fault. Do you still want to love? Or are you just trying to run from yourself? And when all illusions collapse, when you can no longer lie to yourself in the emotional mirror, what remains? You. But not the version of you molded to please. Not the one that sold itself out of fear of loneliness. The you that remained standing when everything else fell apart. That's the beginning. When you no longer need to be chosen to feel valid. When you stop seeking salvation in other bodies. When you stop confusing drama with depth. There, and only there, you're ready to love, without losing yourself. Not from the anxiety of possession, nor from the need to belong, but from the brutal clarity of sharing your freedom with another freedom. And that, my friend, you won't see in movies. It has no soundtrack. It's a silent revolution, a force that doesn't scream, but can tear you apart from within if you're not ready. Because to reach that place, you first have to cross the desert, Nietzsche's desert, where outside voices go quiet, where masks fall, where you finally face yourself. And if you survive that silence, then yes, you're ready to love. And hear me clearly. Once you reach that point, there's no turning back. Because once you see the mechanism behind affection, you can't love blindly again. You can't swallow the sweetness without tasting the poison. You can't look into someone's eyes and pretend you don't know what's at stake. Sadness? Number, it's power. Because now you choose. You don't react. You don't beg. You don't fear. You decide. And deciding, that's the closest thing to freedom this world offers. Now you know what you're giving when you give yourself. And more importantly, you know what you'll never again negotiate. Because real love, awakened love, is not blind surrender. It's a silent pact between two people who no longer lie to themselves, two who no longer need to play. So if you've made it this far, if you didn't close this video halfway through, if you stayed despite the blow, the discomfort, the vertigo, then welcome. You're leaving the theater, you're seeing the strings, you're done performing, and that makes you dangerous. Because now, you don't need applause, you don't need approval, you don't need stories. Now, you have weapons. And that's why I want to invite you to do something radical. If you have the courage to keep looking at the truth without filters, subscribe. This channel doesn't exist to distract you. It exists to destroy you, and then help you rebuild. And if you truly made it this far, leave one single phrase in the comments. One that doesn't need applause, only awareness. Truth needs no witnesses. With that, I'll know you're awake, that you no longer want sugar, that you came for iron, for fire, for living philosophy. Thank you for seeing with open eyes. We'll meet again in the next video. Or maybe not. Maybe you won't need to see me anymore. Maybe we'll only meet in that corner of consciousness, where masks no longer work, where only the gaze remains. And remember this: the most dangerous whispers don't come from the outside, they come from within, right before you fall back asleep. Good night. Or better yet, welcome to the insomnia.